Kind of surprising we didn't get a full-blown Maz vacation week, All-Star week, but here we are, Thursday and Friday night, no Maz, so get ready for that. It's Matt McCarthy, Jimmy Stewart's hanging out. We have room for you on the phone lines at 617-779-0985 on the final night of the All-Star break, which has sneaky become the worst day of the sports calendar. It used to be the Wednesday of the MLB All-Star Week where you don't have anything going on. But now that just about all of baseball, I think there might be one game tonight, but just about all of baseball takes the Thursday off as well. You get the full 4 days. This is the day where it needs to be back. We got to come back on the Thursday, not the Friday. But the labor issues and all that, and obviously the players want time off. I do not. I need something to talk about. I need baseball games to talk about. I am ready for it. I'm itching for it. At least we got a doubleheader tomorrow to get us back into the swing of things when it comes to the Red Sox. And make no mistake about it, this is the most important and defining stretch of this season for the Red Sox. We will find out whether or not the run into the All-Star break, the stretch before the All-Star break, was real, or whether or not it was pretty much what it's been in recent years, which is a mirage. Go back to 2024 when they came out of the All-Star break. It was bad. Last year, it was not great coming out of the All-Star break, but the team was better and was in more secure standing. This year, Red Sox come out of the break winners of 9 in a row, 14 out of 16, playing their best baseball of the year, and they're coming home as part of it. And I just saw, this was emailed to Jimmy Stewart from the Red Sox ticket office. In fact, I think I just got it too. Here we go. Straight into my email inbox from the Red Sox. Sox fans, we're back home. You open up the email, you get a graphic that says, finally back at Fenway, which to me is a bit of a marketing example. The Red Sox are saying, we're back. We're back at it. Not only are we back at Fenway, we're back, baby. The Boston Red Sox are back, and I say, not so fast. Not so fast. Let me see what happens over the course of this 10-game homestand. That is when I will make the determination about whether the Red Sox are real or fake, whether they're a playoff contender or not. Right now, mathematically, they are a playoff contender. They're, 2 games back, whatever it may be, or they're 2 games under 500 at this point. And that's the state of the American League right now. You're 2 games under. You have just as good a chance as anybody else to make the playoffs. ESPN analytics today say the Red Sox will make the playoffs at 82-80. They've got a 51% chance to make the playoffs, which I guess means it makes it more likely than not, if we want to use a Wells Report terminology, more likely than not that the Red Sox make the playoffs. I am not buying in just yet. I have to see it at home. For a team that is 17-27 at home this year, for a team that maybe lost some momentum over the break, which came undeniably at the worst time for them, and for a team that's relying on a lot of 4A players and a lot of grinders and guys with some edge and guys with something to prove, you can win some baseball games over a short sample size. And in the end, 16 games is a short sample size in Major League Baseball. You can win some games, though. Make no mistake about it. And the Red Sox did that. This 10-game homestand determines everything. It determines the direction. To me, it determines buy or sell. It determines how much you are empowering Craig Breslow at the deadline. Because if you come out, you go 7-3, all of a sudden you're saying, all right, you get some bad apples out of here. Alex Cora is gone. Marcelo Meyer's gone. Trevor Story's gone. Brian Bayo's in Worcester. Roman Anthony maybe is a bad apple. Maybe he's not. We can have a conversation about where he stands and all of that. But, if you remove entitlement from the organization, to borrow a term from Mike Vrabel, if you've done that, you start playing better baseball. Maybe Breslow's vision is starting to come a little bit more into focus here. You go 7-3, you have a really good homestand. All right, I'm in. We're empowering Breslow. We're buying at the deadline. There you go. He's not trying to save his job. His job is safe and secure, at least for now. You go 3-7, I'm going the exact opposite direction. 3-7, I'm selling. Sonny Gray's out the door. Aroldis Chapman's out the door. I'll listen on Garrett Whitlock. I'll listen on Jarren Duran if you're winning or losing. Doesn't matter. I think you'll be better off without him. That will be addition by subtraction, the same way that Meyer was, the same way that Bayo was, the same way that Alex Cora was. But this is it, man. This is it. Red Sox season. Next 10 days. That's it. And this is going to determine whether or not I'm engaging with them and watching them for the rest of the year, or backing away because it's over. So massive stretch here for the Red Sox. And we'll get your thoughts on it at 617-779-0985. I want to bring in Jimmy Stewart. Jimmy, we were talking about this a little bit earlier on Felger and Maz. My concern would be, that the Red Sox go 5-5. They end up straight in the middle, and that puts them in a spot where maybe they're doing a little bit of buying and selling at the deadline. Breslow's keeping his job, but we're not really sure how much power he has. The worst scenario here for the Red Sox is they end up in the middle. I am terrified of that, and that is why these next 10 games are so important. A direction is so important for this franchise because, frankly, I think they've been directionless for most of this year. I think they have to go one way or another, and if they end up 5-5, 6-4, 4-6, that's trouble for me, and I think it spells trouble for the organization. Am I wrong in that?
No, the middling part is frustrating, but they're a half game out of the wild card, right? So if you're in a playoff spot, you have to buy. You have to buy, and you have to extend Craig Breslow.
Are we sure about that? You have to buy? I mean, and I'm just going back to the Chaim Bloom era. What were they, like a game and a half out at the 2022 deadline, and they bought and sold? Now, I don't want to do what the 2 to 6 show normally does, which is say that Breslow and Bloom are the exact same general manager, because they're not. They have approached some things certainly differently. Breslow is cutthroat. Bloom was not. I think Bloom, to borrow a term from our friends across the pond, is a coward. Is cowardly in the way he approached his job, which is why he bought and sold. Breslow has no problem firing managers, seizing power within the organization, trading prospects, which he's done in the past. So I do think they approach the job differently, but I think they are where they are similar is they are both beholden to numbers, playoff probabilities, and if you're pretty much right in the middle, they're going to both middle it. They're going to buy and sell, and I do worry that Breslow would do what Bloom did in 2022 and trade Christian Vazquez because you're getting a good return there, and they did. But then you go out and you trade for Eric Hosmer, you add Tommy Pham, you trade for Reese McGuire. It's like you do a little bit of buying and selling, and you know where that gets you? Exactly in the middle and probably right on the outside of the playoff picture. I do not want that. That is a disaster for the Red Sox. I hate that idea.
What if they sold Sonny Gray but bought James Woods?
I still don't like that because if you're trading for James Wood from the Nationals, and there's been some internet chatter about that today, make of it what you will. If you're trading for James Wood, good. I want Sonny Gray to be here because he's going to help me win baseball games. I hate the message that it sends to the clubhouse. Okay, well, that guy can help us, but he's out the door because of his contract. But this guy's going to help us, so we're going to bring him in. Huh? What? No, you're a better baseball team if you acquire James Wood and keep Sonny Gray. Middling it is the worst thing they can do. And I'm really concerned that that's what they're going to do at this deadline. They're either going to stand pat or they're going to sell a piece and buy a piece. And I just hate that idea.
But their pitching is top 5 in baseball since Chad Tracy took over. Their offense has been better, but it's still struggling. So you're taking a strength of a 35-year-old pitcher. You're turning it into prospects. You're sending those prospects to the Nationals for a 23-year-old MVP offensive candidate.
Okay. If it's that, and you're immediately flipping the prospects, it's a 3-team trade, whatever you want. If you need to take a piece off of your major league roster to get you a big bat, that's different than what I'm talking about. And what Bloom did, which was, well, we're going to acquire Willie Abreu, and then we're going to hold on to him for 4 years, but then we're also going to go out and trade for Pham and trade for Hosmer, and that makes no sense. If this is a 3-team trade, we're changing the complexion of the roster a little bit because we've got a strength here and this is improving a weakness, and the only way to get this deal done is trading Connolly early in a deal that brings you back a bat. All right, that I can get on board with. But if it's we're trading Sonny Gray because he's got a half year left on his deal because he's not picking up the mutual option, we're going to acquire 3 prospects for Sonny Gray. We're not going to do anything with them, but then we're going to go out and trade for a hitter somewhere else. No, that's middling it. Don't be a coward. Don't be a coward. Don't be England. Don't be Thomas Tuchel. Pick a direction. Show some conviction in what you believe. And your conviction cannot be tied into, well, I mean, we have a 51% chance to make the playoffs, so we buy a little and we sell a little. No. Do you think you'll build a playoff team? Yes or no? And if you think you built a playoff team, buy. If you think you did not build a playoff team because you don't believe in this run or you bottom out over the course of the next few weeks, sell. Don't do it in the middle. I beg to you. I pray to you. Do not do it in the middle. 617-779-0985. We're off and running tonight. We'll get to you early and often. Mike's in Danvers. Hey, Mike.
Hey, I had a question about Andrew Bailey.
Go for it.
So with the Red Sox being so good this year, and especially the pitching, do you think that he gets the head coaching job in the future? And if that's the case, do you think when the all the coaches got fired, that's why he didn't, because Breslow wanted to give him a favor?
Okay, Mike. So the thing on Andrew Bailey, the reason he wasn't fired is not because Breslow wanted to do him a favor. It's because he is a Breslow guy. So I mean that the firings, directly came along the the lines of Cora people versus Breslow people. Any Cora loyalist in the organization was purged from the organization, taken out back. It was politically motivated. The whole thing was. Now, I think we're now learning, and I made this argument at the time, that Alex Cora was a problem, and the Red Sox are a better organization without him at this point. I think Cora is a good baseball manager when he's engaged, when he's involved, and when he's not involved in backroom politics and backstabbing and factions and, just the overall disagreements in the organization. When he's not managing to try to prove a point and try to prove the roster is deficient. And he managed like a guy who said, see what I have to deal with. Give a look at this. So that's why Bailey stuck around. And do I think Chad Tracy is going to be on the job long term? I have my questions about that. I have my doubts about that. Breslow has by no means given him any vote of confidence whatsoever. I think he should have the job. I think he's done a really nice job in a really impossible spot. So I think he should be the next manager of the Boston Red Sox. I'm totally on board with that. But the question is Craig Breslow on board with that? And you're making the point that that Bailey is a Breslow guy. They were teammates back in the day. Breslow brought him in from San Francisco. Maybe Bailey is the future manager of the Boston Red Sox. I hate that idea. I hate it. I do not like pitching coaches as managers. It almost never works. I guess the best example of it in recent memory is John Farrell, who did win a World Series in 2013, but I think anybody who was not Bobby Valentine would have won that World Series. Farrell was not a good manager for the rest of his time here. Farrell had a Mike Vrabel incident where he got together with a reporter, alienated the entire clubhouse. Trust me when I say there were Red Sox players who had a real issue with the way that all went down, knowing that the reporter then knew all kinds of dirt on them because Farrell had told them all of that. So that's not what I want. Not that Andrew Bailey is going to go and do that situation, but it never works with pitching coaches. Almost never, ever works with pitching coaches being a manager. Go back to Joe Kerrigan in 2001. That was a disaster, a dumpster fire, because pitching coaches only see one side of the game. So I guess it would be a kind of a Craig Breslow type move, because Breslow, like pitching coaches, because he is a pitching guy, generally only sees one side of the game. That's why he's built a really good pitching staff and an anemic lineup. So I think if you're handing your organization over to pitchers, it does not work. It almost never works. That's why catchers generally make better managers. They see both sides of the game. That's why utility infielders generally make good managers. While they're not pitchers, they're involved in the intricacies of the game and are expected to do multiple things and have to understand how a game is pitched. A good utility infielder understands all of that. So maybe that's an issue with the Red Sox moving forward, that they are too pitching heavy, they are too pitching focused, and that is where I guess the real brain power of the organization is. They did hire Driveline to be their hitting guys because, well, they don't have any real hitting guys, and we'll see how that worked. I mean, it obviously did not work out very well, so they're better off. They've been better ever since Driveline left the organization, or Kyle Boddy left the organization. So do I like that idea? No, not one bit. And you need to bring in more people from the hitting side of things. 617-779-0985. More thoughts on Breslow and his future at the deadline. We'll do that next. I'll tell you, if you think we're dramatic here, I can't get over the English guys from the World Cup yesterday and English Sports Talk Radio. You know they have to play a third place game on Saturday. And I know this is the baseball hour. We'll get back to it in just a second. But England needs to play a third place game. They are the Red Sox of really their 86-year drought. And TalkSport, our friends, 98.5 The Sports Hub in England, say the third place game is insulting to humanity. So if you think we get dramatic about things here on the station, just keep in mind it is child's play compared to Sports Talk Radio in England. 617-779-0985. We continue. It is the baseball hour, the Rounders hour, as they would call it over there. Craig Breslow approaching the deadline. Going to be a lot of discussion about whether he should be empowered, whether he should buy or sell. You name it, Jimmy Stewart wants him extended. Can't say I necessarily feel that strongly, but Jimmy Stewart wants to extend Craig Breslow.
But Matt, if you're looking at this, you fired Alex Cora behind the suggestion of Craig Breslow. His moves have been mostly right on the field, mostly. You have to empower him for this deadline and free agency. And then there's probably going to be a lockout, so you've wasted a year, and so you have to give him more time to fully embrace his vision, because right now it's working.
So I think you don't have to extend him because the team is now winning games, which sounds counterintuitive. Like, that doesn't make a lot of sense on the face of it. However, I think your argument is more valid, Jimmy, if you're saying they're 6 out in the wild card, they're 8 games under 500, whatever it may be. Breslow's going to try to save his job at the deadline, and he's going to go out and buy for a team that you shouldn't buy for. If you're in a position to buy, well, then it's just normal. Like, all right, go out and buy for this team. Yeah, maybe you're trying to save your job, but the reason you extend Breslow is so you give him security so he doesn't make a reckless decision that hurts the future of the franchise. Meaning, you go out and you trade Franklin Arias to help you this year. All right, well, if you're in a position where you're in the playoff hunt and you're already buying, maybe it makes more sense to trade somebody like Franklin Arias or to unload the farm system to go out and add to this team. The danger that we were facing as an organization, as a franchise, is that you were going to have a general manager who was going to do something stupid in an attempt to save his job. There is nothing more dangerous in sports than a general manager with something to prove or a job to save, you name it. If Breslow is going out and adding to a team that is in the playoff hunt, yeah, maybe he's doing it to try to save his job. But if the team's in the playoff hunt, they should be buying anyway, so I don't need to extend him in that spot. You know what I mean by that?
I'm trying to prevent organizational not malpractice. I'm trying to be like, okay, so Breslow is here. He's got his manager. He's got his way of thinking. And so let's empower that more so than, hey, we just fired Alex Cora. We're going to get some players back. Let's add to this. Let's add to him and give him longer term because we think there's a lockout next year. So if we really believe in Craig Breslow, we have to give him more power because he's shown with a good offseason last year, a good offseason this year, that he's capable of the job. Let's give him more. Let's empower him more.
Yeah, I think the winning empowers him more. And it's crazy to say even more than a contract extension. He has 2 years beyond this. You never let a general manager go into a lame duck year. I think what you're saying is the lockout maybe makes this a bit of a lame duck year, but they made it clear. Like, we have 135 games to turn it around, and the bullseye will be on Breslow's, back squarely. The dangerous part was if they were still out of the playoff picture and Breslow was going out adding to this roster trying to save his job. That would have been malpractice. If you're going out adding to this roster when you're in the playoff picture, whether or not you're doing it because you believe in the team or you're trying to save your job, you are theoretically doing the right thing because right now they're essentially a playoff team, so you have to buy, you have to add. Yeah, Breslow's probably really willing to do that because it's going to increase the likelihood that they make the playoffs, which keeps him on the job. I just don't want to get to a point where I'm extending him before I have to. I think what you're saying is We don't want him doing something reckless, and if we're not going to strip all the power away from him, then you have to extend him. That I would agree with. But
Thank you.
I think you're going to add anyway at this deadline if you stay in this spot. So we'll see how it all plays out. Do you trust him, Jimmy, to add a bat, which is what they need? He did it. You said he had a good offseason, which he did in the moves that he made. Contreras, great move. Gray, great move. Suarez, great move. Last offseason, Chapman, Crochet, Narvaez was a good move. I mean, he had
Narvaez should have been an all-star.
He should last year. Definitely not this year, but last year. So he's had, you could argue, in a vacuum, back-to-back, if we're grading out the moves, strong off seasons. The reason the team was in the position they were in is because they didn't have enough veteran leadership and they didn't have enough hitters, which he didn't really try to add. I mean, that's the criticism of Breslow, is the moves he didn't make were disastrous. The moves he made were great. The moves he didn't make ultimately hurt the team. Do you trust him now that they need a bat, now that right as we sit here tonight, they're probably adding? Do you trust him to be able to identify the appropriate bat?
Yes, but it'll be a name where we will go, huh? Who? How does he fit? Like Cotillo, I had on the baseball hour a week or so ago, and he's like, oh, they need infield help. They need a right-handed infielder. Can he identify that? Is that Nato guy with the Angels?
Yeah,
like
Neto.
He's a switch hitter. Does that work?
I like Neto, except there's a little bit too much strikeout in his game. He hits for pop, though, and he's a good fielder.
Then it goes to the guy with the Padres, Arias? Not Arias.
Oh, Arias?
Arias.
Yeah, he's with the Giants now because nobody likes pure hitters, and he just moves from team to team every year.
He fits more with the team, and he can play second base. He's
he does.
A lefty hitter, but...
Yep. I'll take it at this point. He puts his bat on the ball. I mean, yes, I would prefer right-handed power. I'd prefer right-handed pop, no doubt. But I'd take Luis Arias at this point.
But then you go
team.
to, like, are you going to do something longer term, a Bobby Witt Jr. or Fernando Tatis Jr., something along that? Buxton's not going to waive his no trade to get out of Minnesota, but that's also an outfielder. And then the James Woods thing. That doesn't work either unless it's Duran or it's Anthony and something like that.
I would say, you mentioned Duran. You can take him at this point. I actually think he's addition by subtraction. They're going to hold on to him because they're hopeful that he can play better and recoup some of his value and then trade him. It's not going to happen. He is who he is. I think getting him out of the clubhouse will be good for everybody. I mean, we've seen this. The Red Sox have played better baseball the more they've removed some figures from that clubhouse. Marcelo Meyer, I think, bad figure in the clubhouse. Brian Bayo, bad figure in the clubhouse. Trevor Story, a leader, I've been told. Not a good leader, so a bad figure in the clubhouse. Very entitled leader. I think Jarren Duran is a bad figure in that clubhouse, too. And you can have him at this deadline for 5 cents on the dollar if you want. They will be a better baseball team without him.
But the problem is that the Red Sox probably view him as, well, he's one swing away from being on third base.
I get that. But when was the last time that really worked? 2024? It's been 2 years. So it clears up your outfield logjam. It opens up a spot for Roman Anthony if he ever decides to come back from Fort Myers. I'm sure he's loving it down there, hanging out.
And he's got to get up here before the summer ends, Matt.
Well, he does. He does. Well,
that Seaport weather isn't going to, the Seaport weather goes away in October.
It's not going to be around for long. And then who knows what time we're going to be on, if it's going to be daylight time or standard time or Atlantic time. Who knows what times the sun's going to be setting. The sun setting is generally good for Roman Anthony. Once things get dark, it's great for Roman and Marcelo. Both are good-looking dudes in the light and the dark, though. So, I mean, I have no doubt they'll continue to bat 1,000 in the Seaport, bat 200 at Fenway Park. But man, they're gonna do some damage over there.
We know they can close in the Seaport.
Oh yes, they can. Marcelo Meyer is Marcelo Meyer at Fenway. He's Teddy Ballgame in the Seaport. 617-779-0985. Let's go to Eric in Reading. Hey, Eric.
Hey, in Craig's defense, he's got absolutely nothing to work with. Henry will be a tightwad and he'll shut off the real spigot. I got to give Craig credit. He's made chicken salad out of chicken, you-know-what. Thanks. Bye.
Okay. What's their luxury tax payroll this year? $268
So, Matt, this is actually an interesting point.
Yeah?
So their payroll tax right now is like $242,
yeah.
But their actual cash spending is like $191.
Right, which puts them like 12th in baseball or something like that.
So what you could do is Sonny Gray goes to a team that's $25 million of AAV value, and the Red Sox could bring back somebody who's $25 million of actual like AAV and cash value. They have the cash to spend if they so choose.
Yeah. I just don't think I've kind of gotten tired of that commentary. Like, well, he's got nothing to work with. Yeah, I get it. They're not spending what you want them to spend on the team. They're still the 12th highest cash payroll in baseball, which is not where it should be. Don't get me wrong, but like, let's not excuse away the job that baseball operations has done for years here with, again, less money than we all want them to spend, but still way more than the majority of baseball spends. Like, the Red Sox have essentially been a bottom 10 team in baseball for the last, the majority of the last 4 or 5 years. They've had a top 10 or 12 payroll most of those years. So I have a hard time going that far. I get it. Henry doesn't spend what you want, what I want, what everybody wants. I wish he spent like the Dodgers, no doubt. But I think that does just excuse away some, baseball operation stuff. I just do. 617-779-0985. I had a thought on that, which I've now completely, here we go. The money, though, because it is a factor. You talked about the lockout, Jimmy, and approaching this trading deadline and thinking who might stay and who might go on this roster in whatever direction they go in. There may be a salary floor in baseball next year. If there's a salary cap, there will be a salary floor. There are going to be teams that are going to be trying to take on money. What about Christian Campbell and his money? If you're a team, do you want to take on $60 million in a veteran player who's a bum, or some old washed 35-year-old dude, or do you want to take on $60 million in a guy who was once a top prospect and, hey, it is what it is, and we'll see if we can get something out of him? I actually wonder if that Campbell contract might be valuable.
Campbell, Bayo, Duran, all those guys.
I'd be curious. I'll be curious to see if any of those guys get moved at this deadline. It's probably more of an off-season thing, but I wonder if there's a team out there that wants to be proactive and get out in front of it.
Because I believe there's only 10 of the 30 teams that would be cap compliant today.
Yes. Campbell in a sneaky way may become valuable. Bayo in a sneaky way may become valuable. And if teams are, looking to make moves at the deadline, is that a throw-in? Is that you hate to say that Christian Campbell would become a sweetener, but is Christian Campbell a sweetener? Instead of the third prospect in a deal, because he's frankly no longer a prospect. It's not going to happen. You take it and somebody says, well, it got some upside. You can sell a fan base on it. You can sell a fan base who hasn't seen the guy play on it. I wonder. It's an interesting figure approaching the deadline. 617-779-0985. I see on the phone lines. We will take care of you. Kevin Majori is going to get you caught up on Sports of Headlines. It's the Baseball Hour. No Maz, McCarthy, and Jason.
Entire experience now that we're looking at it from the rear view.
Fragile. I think this Midsummer Classic is in a fragile state right now, and there's a lot of concern within the sport because so many players are opting out of the game, whether it's to be scheduled in the final weekend on Saturday and Sunday, making them ineligible to pitch or making the choice not to pitch. I mean, in this All-Star game, Jacob Mizorowski, the guy everyone wants to see, he didn't pitch. Paul Skeens didn't pitch. Cam Slittler, Aaron Judge was not there. Shohei Ohtani was not there. At Citizens Bank Park last night, a third of the stands had cleared out by the 8th inning. That is a concern for baseball to address as you move forward.
All-Star game is in probably the worst spot it's ever been. And I say that in a year where I thought the Home Run Derby was as good as it's been in 20 years. I thought the Home Run Derby was tremendous. Awesome. And a lot of that in some ways, though, I mean, the format was way better than the clocked format, and they did it in, a little over 2 hours. So that the timing element was good with it. It wasn't like, when the Home Run Derby was going 4 hours about 10 years ago, which was just an unwatchable product. But despite the format changes, the Home Run Derby, I do think one of the reasons it was so good is Phillies fans were so good. They were awesome. They were great. Booing Contreras, booing Walker having that comeback at the end to send all of them home unhappy. Awesome theater. It's great. Fun night at the Home Run Derby. I know Mr. Home Run Derby will be back on the airwaves tomorrow. Mike Felger, I'm sure he will find a way to hate that version of the Home Run Derby, given he hates all of it. As I have Street Team Joe showing me some random weird jersey. Okay. I don't even know who it is.
Evan Turner, 76ers.
Oh, there you go. How about that? It's becoming like a thing. We're just bringing in random weird jerseys.
It's a bit, Howard. We do bits here.
We do characters,
We do
Jimmy.
characters,
we do
Howard.
characters, Jimmy. You're making my point. But Buster Olney is making my point. The All-Star game, I think at this point, it's jumped the shark. Home run derby's good. The game itself. And I really like the All-Star game in baseball. That's still the kid in me. It was so much fun as a kid. I'll never forget 1999. Jimmy Stewart was there in 1999. It's one of my favorite Jay Stu stories, hearing about his time at Fenway Park in the All-Star game. And my guess is the All-Star game will be at Fenway Park in the next couple of years as we approach, the 30th anniversary of 1999, which is crazy, by the way, that we're 27 years removed from it. It's wild to me. But I don't know what the future of the game is. I don't, because, and maybe it's taken a little longer for the baseball All-Star game to reach this point, but as Buster Olney, said a few minutes ago, now we're getting to the point where a whole bunch of guys are opting out. At least I could say, it's a real game, and the first inning is kind of must watch because you see Ohtani facing Judge or something like that. You don't even see that anymore. And I think we finally reached the point where guys are saying, to hell with this. And I'm surprised it took so long in baseball, which is such a grind, if I were a player, I'd be like, yeah, my ankle's bothering me. I'm not going. I'm taking 4 days off. We've gotten to a point where it may be a lost cause, and I'll be curious to see. And by the way, I'm okay with that. As much as it would bum out the child in me, all-star games in sports are just, they're a relic, a thing of the past. And I don't know if you can save it. And frankly, I'm not interested in gimmicking it up to save it. Gimmicking all-star games only makes them even worse. The best thing I could say about the baseball all-star game is it's a real game, kind of. I mean, we're not changing the rules. The swing-off was good last year. So if you want to change an extra inning rule, that's fine by me. But I don't know. We go out there, it's 4 balls, 3 strikes, 3 outs. We play 9 innings, and it's the only sport that still does that. Now the players just aren't taking part. So it is what it is, but I don't think you can fix that. And gimmicking it up will not fix it. That's for sure. Maybe if I can make one suggestion for the All-Star game, just one, tighten up the rosters. I don't want to see the second-tier American League, National League All-Stars. Give me like a real roster, 26-man roster. You'll have to have a new pitcher every inning because guys won't want, you won't want a starting pitcher going 7 innings in the All-Star game. I get it. But if you're an All-Star starter, you play all 9 innings. That's it. I don't want to see your backup. Here are the 9. Here are the best 9 in each league. That'd be the only suggestion I'd have. But in the end, I don't think you can save much of it. 617-779-0985. How about Tom in the car? Hi, Tom.
Hey, guys. How are you?
What's up?
I think, with the Sox getting hot, they tend to use the, when the season isn't going well, it's the ebbs and flows of the season. Right now, they're on a good flow. The real concern for me, Matt, I've talked to you before about this, is the young guys, right? They have poor makeup, so I don't know who they're drafting or how they're bringing guys along. Mayer, Bello, they put Campbell, Anthony in tough spots. The veteran leadership is terrible. They do nothing to help bring these guys along. You got Story and Duran. And then lastly, like Bregman, Alonso, Schwarber, pay the money, man. Those guys are going to have an impact on the roster and obviously an impact in how they play. So I just, the way they develop and bring these young guys along is a big concern for me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm concerned about it too. The question is did they fail to develop Marcelo Meyer or did they overrate him from the jump? I tend to think they overrated him from the jump. Did they fail to develop Christian Campbell, or did they overrate him and ignore all the bad signs that you saw at the beginning of 2025, which was his spring training, and they said, no, he's our second baseman, it's fine. It's like, you do realize this guy, like 3 months ago, was in single A, right? We're like, well, yeah, but I mean, the batted ball data is amazing. All right, well, maybe let's see it again at AAA. Let's see, him take an off season. Let's see the book get out on him, and let's, see if he can respond to that. No, he's our starting second baseman. Well, I mean, you do realize he can't play second base, right? Oh, it doesn't matter. He'll figure it out. Well, he didn't. Then they moved him to the outfield. He'll figure it out. Well, he didn't. So is that player development? I mean, I don't think Christian Campbell not having a position is on the Red Sox. I think it's on them for ignoring that he didn't have a position, but I don't put that on their development in growing him as a minor league player. Is there some of that going on? Roman Anthony and the fundamentals and the outfield. Yeah, I think there's some of that for sure, but I do think they just overhyped a lot of those guys. Marcelo Meyer got to Double-A and he couldn't hit a curveball. That should have been sign one right there. But you also ignored Meyer's makeup. The thing about having guys in the minor leagues for multiple years is you learn who they are. You learn, are they mature? Are they not mature? Are they professional? Do they care about baseball? Do they not care about baseball? Marcelo Meyer doesn't care about baseball. And now all of a sudden, he gets the big leagues and we're counting on him. It's like, oh, crap, man, yeah, we wish he'd be a little bit more professional. You weren't paying attention for the last 3 years where he basically quit at the end of every single... you get to August and Meyer throws his hands up and he's like, all right, well, have a good rest of your season. I'm done. I'm done playing. I'm not going to play through this little bump or bruise. Season's over for me. You weren't paying attention to that? I don't think that has much to do with development. I think that has to do with overrating and overhyping the guys you do have. Joe in Beverly. Hey, Joe.
Hey, guys. Wanted to chime in about the All-Star game. My biggest issue with the All-Star game isn't actually the game itself. It's there's too many snubs and too many guys that aren't All-Stars that make it because of guys that drop out. So the long-term effect is, 10 years down the road when some guys are up for the Hall of Fame, we actually use that as data. Like, oh, well, he's only a four-time All-Star. And it's like, well, the whole system doesn't matter. We shouldn't be using it as a benchmark for Hall of Fame stuff or just considering a legacy.
Dude, Joe, great point. Great point. We've kind of lost our way a little bit with the game. Again, my attitude would be name a 26-man now. Name a 26-man roster. Starting 9, you get a utility infielder, an outfielder, backup catcher. There you go. I mean, what would that be? One infielder. So 26-man roster, you'd have 4 bench guys, 13 pitchers. You know what I mean. I'm not here to do math on the air. Just name a real roster. We're, picking the best of the best. And yeah, if you get snubbed, you get snubbed. But you know what? That's okay because you weren't the best in the league that year. And, we're not going to look at that when it comes to Hall of Fame time. It's a good point. Really good point how we use all-star stats when it comes to determining who is the best in the era or not. There are a whole bunch of guys who make it because guys drop out and then they put, AS next to you on Baseball Reference. It's damaging the sport. Maybe just essentially name the all-pro team, the all-MLB team, and call it a day. Hey, speaking of calling it a day, that's what I'm going to do. Program's over. Jimmy Stewart, Kevin Majori, Zeke, thanks for all your help today. Back tomorrow. Felger is back. It'll be Felger, Barth, and yours truly from 2 to 6. We'll do the baseball hour 6 to 7. And that's your Friday. And that's it for your Thursday. Kendra Middleton's coming up next. Very excited about that. We'll see you tomorrow.
Stay cool at home.